don't know when the intros start and stop here because it's not our normal Pat's Daily. Do you still hear it?
Yeah. It happened last time too. I think
it did go for this long. Okay, well, we're back.
Welcome.
That's okay. We are back here on Patriots Draft Central here on the CLNS Media Network. It is not Pat's Daily, even though it's kind of Pat's Daily. No John Zannis, just Mike Kadlick and Tayler Kyles here to recap what just happened in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. We are powered by PrizePicks and Game Time. So head over there, use that code CLNS for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup on PrizePicks and Game Time. If you want to head to games, use that code CLNS. There you get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Tayler, I know we did Will Campbell. I believe a video is already uploaded on the channel of Will Campbell of us reacting. But quickly, before we get into the rest of the league, quickly just pour out your thoughts on what the Patriots did at pick number 4 and how you feel about Will Campbell being the next offensive tackle, left tackle of the New England Patriots.
We knew this was going to happen, so it was a weird feeling. I haven't had this feeling in the first round where I was kind of nervous. I don't know, but I think once the hay was actually in the barn, there was a bit of relief. And he even said the same thing, that it was a bit of a relief just to finally get taken and know where he was going to go and just not having the speculation of, are they going to get the trade down package? Are they going to go outside of what everyone's saying they're going to do and take the best player available, maybe go defense? They did what we thought. And I'm fine with it, man. I've been saying consistently that I would not have been upset with the Will Campbell pick, especially given what this class is and what the Patriots needed in quarterback and left tackle, 2 positions that you really cannot kick the can down the road. They have kicked the can down the road, and it's cost them. So finally addressing the spot. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited to get to meet this dude, get to know a little bit more about him, dive into even more tape, because now that, he's on the team, I can literally just pour into everything and, try to find every, I don't want to say cope, because he is a good left tackle, but still, we're going to have the concerns until we see him in pass pro against NFL players, and that's just what it is. But I'm excited, man. Just the person, knowing how long he actually wanted to be. I think he wanted to be a Patriot more than anybody's wanted to since Bill Belichick left. I don't know the last time I heard somebody being I really wanted to be a Patriot. It's usually something along the lines of I want to help them get back to where they're going, and it's a player who probably wasn't getting offers somewhere else, or it's, I felt they wanted me, and it's they paid you the GDP of a small country. So.
Yeah, right. That's also true. But you mentioned Will Campbell saying that. We have a clip here actually of him and what he told Elliot Wolf at week 5 when he went down to LSU. Take a look here.
Pete Thamel, that you put Vrabel on his butt. Just curious on what it was like working out with your new head coach.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Him and some of the other staff came in, and we had a great workout, got some good work in. They taught me some new stuff, and I mean, I got him. I'm not gonna lie, I got him on the ground.
That was awesome.
And then we had a great lunch after. A bunch of great guys. I'm just super excited for this opportunity.
How excited are you to work with Drake May and ultimately to protect him on the field?
Yeah, I'm super excited. He's a heck of a player, a heck of a leader. He's the commander of our offense. I'm not only excited to play with him, but the rest of the team. I'm excited for the future that we have in Foxboro, and I think we got a special season coming.
Well, knowing Foxboro, that we're gonna be driven by the Patriots.
This is where I wanted to be since the start. Elliot Wolf came to my practice whenever I was probably about week 5 of the season, and I told him this is where I wanted to be. Yeah, I mean, I told him and, our area scout, Alex Brooks, that I wanted to be a Patriot, and that happened in the middle of the season. I've had great interactions with, everybody throughout the process, a lot of them, private workouts, 30 visits, just being up there, getting to meet everybody, and, it's just where I wanted to be, and, I'm just super excited to get there.
Hey, Will.
So, a couple of things. He's already talking. I know he is a Patriot, but he's already Drake's our leader. He's our team's, he's already talking like he's a Patriot. He's talking about area scout Alex Brooks. He said our area scout Alex Brooks, not the, he clearly knew he was going to be a Patriot, but he's been ready for this. But I think that's pretty cool. That just kind of shows the inherent, leadership where he's just okay, I'm a Patriot. I'm going to protect Drake May. I'm going to do anything we need to do to win, and I am a part of this team. and you saw it too when he started tearing up on that NFL Network interview, but like he is fully bought in, which, I mean, how do you not? Like you said, you get paid a shitload of money. You're the number 4 pick. And realistically, if he was taken by, call it Cleveland, he'd be saying the same stuff, but it's nice to hear it now. And I think the thing with Wolf, the thing with Vrabel, them going down there, it feels like, they really hit it off, and it feels like it's going to be hopefully a special pairing.
Also, this Foxboro. Oh, I'm never gonna get tired of that. I love
so
that
funny.
one. But yeah, man, it's cool that it's a player who is excited to specifically be here. Like, if he's saying that Elliott Wolf went to visit him like early or like mid last season, whatever, this is when Gerard Mayo is still the head coach.
Mhm.
This is when Drake May hasn't taken a pro snap, or I think actually he had because of the Jets, but like he had never started a game before. So I'm not exactly sure what I think it was the history. And like he said, he's been part of a storied program at LSU. It was, and wanted to continue that in the NFL. But still, man, like that's some foresight from Will Campbell to be like, yeah, I want to go to the Patriots because, man, we cover the team and we're like, this is a sorry squad, man. I really hope this gets better because it is rough out here. So yeah, it's hard to listen to him and not get excited. And obviously, like the personality and stuff that only goes so far. But as Vrabel pointed out many times, this is a dude who had a very successful career starting every game that he played in the SEC. So we can have all the speculations we want about how he's going to go up against Myles Garrett, Nathan Hutchinson, and is he going to live up to what you typically like in a 4th round or the 4th overall pick at tackle, left tackle specifically? No, because those guys, when you're taking them that high, they should rarely get beat in any way that's very aggressive. And you see that with Campbell. But at the same time, this is a position that's very hard to fill. They weren't going to fill it likely via trade. And if they were, it was just going to be with an older guy who only has a year or 2 left anyway. Or, you're not in a position to get another premier left tackle option. So you split the baby a little bit, but no one's arguing that this was not a major need for the team. So on the field, I think we'll get more excited once bats come on and we get real violence and everything. But for now, I'm sure we'll get plenty of quotes to keep us satisfied.
I was going to say that as you said, the personality traits obviously only go so far, because again, I don't want to speak it into existence, but if he goes out there and stinks, then everything he says off the field doesn't really matter. But again, for now, what we've seen, what we've heard, it's something to be excited about, again, until it actually translates and gets on the field. But again, we'll talk to Will Campbell tomorrow down in Foxboro. I believe it's scheduled for 3 p.m., but we'll keep you updated there. Myself and Taylor will be down there, and we'll have coverage there. And there is also a first pick reaction already up on the channel, so if you guys want to check out more of our thoughts on Will Campbell there. But we're here in general to recap the rest of the first round. And the really big splash to kick things off was that Jaguars trade going from 5 to 2 to select Travis Hunter with the 2nd overall pick. They announce him as a wide receiver and a cornerback. It sounds like they're going to use him on both sides of the ball. Instead of just blanket answering your thoughts, Taylor, I'm curious if you were the Patriots, knowing now, granted, they got Will Campbell and it's fine. Would you have traded? Look at the haul. Would you have traded the haul, but just changed pick 5 to pick 4 to go up to 2 to get Travis Hunter? Would you have done that, or are you happy with what we're at?
No, I wouldn't have done that. Hello, Travis Hunter. I was massive, massive fan. This is not a team in a position to be trading up for one player, unless it was like an all-pro caliber left tackle. Only position I think this team was in a spot where it's like, yeah, you can. I'm not saying this is any crazy capital or anything, but like, it's enough when you're a team in this position. So yeah, I don't think I would have done it. Now, if I were the Patriots in the Browns position, I would pull so fast you get whiplash. Yeah, no.
So if you were flip it. Actually, I'm glad you said that. So if you were the Patriots, you would have passed on Travis Hunter to take this haul.
Yeah, I think so. Because that's like significant, man, especially the first, because at that point, like, I love Travis Hunter and everything, but if you get that, you at least get the capital to be able to move up the board and take whatever premier player that you still feel your roster lacks. So yeah, I think so. As much as Travis Hunter is obviously a very rare type of talent and someone that you're not going to find in another draft class, and that's the argument that I think you could make very fairly, I would personally just be in the camp of, yeah, you need to load up on assets and try to just address. Again, I think the left tackle spot this year was more important than a Travis Hunter. If they would just stick and pick, then that's one thing if you didn't get any offers. But yeah, I think you need to give yourself some more swings.
Yeah. speaking of getting that future first round pick, I want to talk about another crazy trade that happened towards the back end of the first round. But before we do that, I do want to talk about our friends over at Prize Picks because, as you all know, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. They have over 10 million members and they award billions of dollars in awarded winnings. And right now, if you pick more or less on at least 2 players, you have a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. So run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can cash in on the basketball playoffs today. So don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the court to your lineup. You can pick their points, their rebounds, their assists, and you just take that pick more or less, put it into a lineup. And like I said, you can get up to 2,000 times your cash. They have Taco Tuesdays. They have Flex Fridays. So they're different discounted picks that you can add to your lineup on those days. And again, like I said, basketball playoffs is here. So you can put LeBron, Giannis, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all the Celtics as they continue rolling through the postseason into those lineups. So if you want to join in, sign up today and use that code CLNS and you will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Okay. We were texting about this trade that the Atlanta Falcons made at the back end of the first round, which, look, I don't want to say talk to me off the ledge because I say it all the time with you and it's cliche that you kind of, drag me into things, but the Falcons did have a need at edge rusher, right? But they traded a future first round pick at the back end of the first round to move up 3 or 4 spots, maybe, whatever. Or no, I'm sorry. They weren't in the back end of the first round, but they moved up from wherever they were, sent a future first round pick to come back up and get James Pierce out of Tennessee after already taking Jalen Walker earlier in the first round. The Atlanta Falcons did. And this is coming off a year after that front office paid Kirk Cousins 4 years, $180 million, fully guaranteed, and then drafted Michael Penix with the 8th overall pick in the following draft. So, look, I get the aggressiveness with Penix, and I understand where that timeline might have made sense where, okay, we need Kirk, we sign him, we fall in love with Penix throughout the draft process, F it, we need to just take our guy. Okay, but then the following year to just have another kind of weird snafu / blunder in the front office is wild to me. Again, I don't hate the double dipping at the position. The fact that they spent a future first after, I think another team before that traded up and didn't spend a future first round pick. So it's I don't know how the Rams didn't say no to that, but that was a crazy draft day trade to me.
Especially because Donovan Ezraku's still out there.
Right.
And obviously not necessarily, you didn't know that was going to happen, but Jahad Campbell is still there. I get they needed the juice. And James Pierce is very fast. But he doesn't have elite bend or anything. I don't know, man. And he's got the off-field stuff, which maybe he checked their boxes or whatever, but
sure.
I don't know. I don't understand that. You had other picks, and if they think there's a drop-off, sure. But yeah, man, the future first, that was too much for me. You got the least.
That's the part that makes it, again, trading up for him is one thing. Trading a future first in that package just makes it again, they don't have a first round pick next year. Now that's crazy to go from already that's a lot of draft capital to just give up just to go get, like you said, an edge rusher who A, does have some concerns around him. And again, he could have checked their boxes, but B, there's other ones on the board, which we'll get to when we talk about our day 2 targets. And it's again, I guess they have Matthew Judon, or is he a free agent? He's still in Atlanta, isn't he? Not that it matters. He's not great anymore. But I still...
He's a free agent.
So, wow. Matthew Judon is just unsigned right now? Good trade, Elliot.
No tour reunion before anybody asks.
No. Don't sign him back. But that was a good trade last year by Elliot Wolf getting that 3rd round pick, which... is coming up tomorrow, so we're going to do our day 2 targets in a few. Taylor is yawning. He's ready for bed. But a couple more first-round things to kind of get to. Howie Roseman did it again, Taylor. He did it again. He traded up from 32 to 31 and gets his falling defensive star in Jihad Campbell. I didn't know if it was going to be a Mike Green. I didn't know if it was going to be a Donovan Azaraku, but it felt like he was going to do something on that side of the ball. And the report was, too, they tried to trade up with the Chargers earlier in the round to go get Jihad Campbell, and that fell through. And then he's just sitting there for them at 32, and they make that move. They only give up, like, pick 160 or something to go up one spot, which I'm sure that was Brett Veach or someone in that front office saying, yeah, give us another pick and we'll just flip it here. Now I'm yawning too. It's contagious.
You're gonna make me yawn, so you better cut
We
it
gotta
out.
go to bed, but yeah, what do you think of Howie making that happen again and reloading on the defensive side of the ball for Philly?
What is the Jesse Pinkman meme? We all know. Everybody tweets the exact same thing every time the Eagles pick in the first round. Because when you have a loaded roster, you can just sit back and wait for good players to fall. It happens every single year. Some teams aren't smart enough to capitalize. Some teams aren't in a position to capitalize because they have a bigger need and they maybe just can't necessarily take a certain player. Eagles are loaded everywhere. So if a player falls, especially if they're in the SEC and they play defense, they're going to be on the Eagles' radar. So stop letting these people fall to them. Just knock it off. Quit letting it happen. And maybe we can move past this. But until the NFL learns to stop letting talented SEC defenders fall to the late 20s and 30s, you know, we got to take our
lumps
medicine.
I guess.
Medicine.
Yeah, take your medicine. There you go. All right, last one from the
banking, but that's I guess this is after dark, so
yeah, exactly. This is just our hangout. This is our yawning session.
It's the quiet storm.
Shedeur Sanders right now. The ESPN crew of Louis Riddick and Mel Kiper and all those guys were very upset that Shedeur Sanders was not drafted in round 1. I'm yawning, Taylor.
Dude, you got to knock it off. Seriously, you're gonna.
I know. I can't do this as the host. But okay. Jackson Dart goes before Shedeur Sanders. The Giants trade up. Oh, that's what it was. Did the Giants not? The Giants didn't trade a future first. Stop yawning.
I'm trying.
The Giants didn't trade a future first for Jackson Dart. Yet the Falcons, after them, traded a future first for James Pierce.
I mean,
no quarterback.
You take the deals you get, I guess. And they were really desperate.
Wild.
That's
like,
crazy.
There's no quarterback tax on that. That's crazy. I don't know. Not that I would have expected the Giants, I wouldn't have expected them to trade a first in that situation, even if it was the quarterback.
And we're going to get into like the edge rushers that are still on the board right now that the Patriots could target tomorrow. But like, I would take any of these guys over giving up a future first. Like, bruh.
Shout out Bailey, our producer, sending us our the trade here. So yeah, it was so they traded up 9 spots and they gave up pick 99 and then a 20 next year's 3rd round pick. And the Falcons traded, if I can find it. Holy moly. So granted, they moved up 20 spots compared to 9. But they gave up a first and then swapped 3rd and 7. So again, that's just that's wild to me that they had to give up a future 1st round pick to go get an edge rusher. I get you moving up 20 spots, but that's crazy to me. But anyway,
just wouldn't have done it. Like,
I know.
And then you hear that and you're like, no, that's ridiculous for a pass rusher.
Who is the Falcons GM? Fontenot still? Terry Fontenot?
No, yeah, I think so.
Man, they should have just said yes to Belichick when they had him. But
these picks, they do not care about picks, I guess.
Yeah, and they did it with the Rams, who all of a sudden have 2 first-round picks after going years with no first-round picks. Okay, Jackson Dart with the Giants. What do you make of that? Good move for them. Bad move for them. And are you surprised that he went over Shedeur and that Shedeur is still on the board?
Didn't we talk about this? I don't know if it was on air or off air, but it was, Jackson Dart's got more physical upside. He's done everything in the pre-draft process, participated in everything. I heard that he impressed scouts. I think it was on The Athletic. I think Brugler mentioned that he impressed scouts by the fact that he went to everything, participated in everything, good, bad, or indifferent. That was more than some other guys did. And he seems like a fantastic teammate. Anything you hear about him is that he's a really awesome dude, Star Wars head, which I personally appreciate. Does the eye black to do Anakin Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot, but I mess with it. That's pretty cool. So all those things, like, and then also you don't have to deal with Deion Sanders. I think all of those things, when you put those together, I think it's pretty fair to I think it's pretty easy to understand why a team was willing to take, the chance they did late first round on a Jackson Dart, because Shedeur is going to come with some baggage, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just who he is and who his family is. And the reality is that, he's a good pocket passer, but there's a limit to what he can give you, especially early on. So, yes, Russ is going to be their starter. Brian Daboll came out with that, but at least Dart, if he is able to just sit back and watch and learn from Jameis and from Russ, maybe those physical talents are able to, the mental catches up to the physical, and he's able to be an even better prospect than what we think he is right now.
Adam Schefter just tweeted a little while ago as far as Shedeur Sanders goes. I don't think he's not going to get picked, but there's only been one quarterback drafted in the second round in the last 3 years. It was Will Levis in 2023. Besides that, no second round quarterbacks. There was none last year. There was Levis in 23, and then 22, I don't think there was either, because 22 was the Kenny Pickett year. They took Pickett, and then I think Corral and Malik Willis didn't go. So it's not a great round for quarterbacks because, again, it's that weird range because it's the guys who, if you don't think they're worth trading up for the fifth-year option, it's almost like, well, why are we going to spend another premium second-round pick if we could have just made a move earlier yesterday? And then once you get to the third and fourth round, it's more of the not project guys, but developmental people, which maybe Shedeur is that. Maybe he doesn't go at all. We'll have to see what happens. But that will definitely be one of tomorrow's main storylines. But the main storyline here on Draft Central on CLNS will be the top available players for the Patriots heading into round 2. So we will talk about them. But first, we got to talk to our friends at Game Time. We'll be right back. Patriots Daily is powered by Game Time, the best place to get last-minute tickets to your favorite events. And with the NBA playoffs officially here, we all know it's better to go see games in person. So make sure you use the Game Time app to get to your favorite team's games today. They have last-minute deals with killer prices. You also get the all-in pricing feature, views from your seat, the lowest price guaranteed, and so much more. And Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. I'm heading in to Boston this week to watch them take on the Magic. And I use the Game Time app because it is the best place, my favorite place, to get tickets to your favorite games with their last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off by buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thank you to Game Time. A little bit of an outdated read, but I did go to the Celtics last night. Well, now it's Friday already. But yeah, Wednesday night, game 2 win. Yeah, I got freaked out. I saw Friday on my computer. But did go use the Game Time app there. Super easy, all in price. Last minute pretty much, like I said, and I got in for pretty cheap compared to the rest of the Celtics tickets. So head over there, use code CLNS. $20 off. Terms apply. Taylor, talk to me. Top players available who are fits for the Patriots heading into tomorrow. What do you got?
Yes. Oh, wow. This is not helpful. Let me zoom in a little bit so people can actually see what the hell I wrote. Okay. So, my guys, wide receiver, Luther Burden. This is, I think, the name a lot of people were hoping maybe they trade up for, be aggressive with. I love Luther Burden's skill set. I think he is dangerous with the ball in his hands. I think there's a little bit more to him vertically than he was able to show last year because Brady Cook did the opposite of Cook in many instances. But it needs to be acknowledged that Burden does have like legitimate concerns that are attributed with him. Like I was watching Steve Smith break him down today. he does not seem to be a fan of Luther Burden. And if Steve Smith doesn't like a guy, it kind of sets off a little red flag in my head. Obviously, he's did it for a long time at a very high level. But he mentioned how Luther Burden was fed touches, and you can see why. He's a very talented player. He made the most of those design touches, but he thought that happened at the expense of other players, and that when Burden didn't get the ball, he started to check out. Now, given how bad his quarterback was, like Alex talked about this with us all last year when he was trying to convince us to get Luther Burden. He's like, it's a bad situation and all that. Well, Vrabel's made it very clear that he wants character guys. He said that today, and I know he doesn't want a bunch of Boy Scouts, but I also don't think he wants people with poor work ethics who need to be motivated. I think he wants guys who are self-motivated, like a Will Campbell. So as much as I love Luther Burden, I included him here because he is so talented. I wouldn't be stunned if they took a chance on him, especially with Matt Collins and Stephon Diggs in the room. But I don't think he's a great fit personality-wise. So I include him there, but there really should be an asterisk. Then Jalen Royals, 6 foot, about 200-pound receiver. He can win downfield. He can win after the catch. He's a solid route runner. Shaky ball skills at times where like he's got some pretty rough concentration jobs that you would like to not see, but he also can make some pretty incredible catches. And he's inexperienced at receiver, so he needs to be more consistent. Trey Harris is one of the only guys in that mold of like the X receiver who maybe is better as a Z, because I think that he actually does have the size and enough verticality to win as a true X receiver. And you can say, oh, his route tree was very limited last year. I say that's not his fault. It's where he went to school, and he actually did show more route nuance when he was given the opportunity to run better routes. Jalen Knoll, more of a Z slot type, like a juiced up Edelman kind of, but I love his route running. I think he's a really twitchy player, and he's got legitimate vertical speed to burn and kill you down the middle, where we know Drake May likes to throw, but couldn't really exploit those post routes because of who was on the roster. And oh my God, I said Kyle Washington. Oh my God. Can I have this? Jesus.
Kyle Williams out of Washington State.
God, I've done that so many times. I get the W's mixed up, and obviously it's late. And then Kyle Williams. Oh
Williams.
God. Why is it doing that to me? Don't mess with my hand. Did I not switch it to Williams? Am I crazy?
I thought so.
Okay, it's there. Kyle Williams, because he's undersized. That is a pretty significant concern because he's a frail dude, but he's fast. He's more physical than you would expect, and I think he's got stronger hands, and he's got, like, I think the best release package in this draft. Like, he's a hard guy to even get your hands on, but when you do, he can get pushed around. So I don't know if he can add enough weight for that not to be an issue, but at the very least, you try to keep him out of press situations as much as you can. Just again, so he doesn't have to deal with the size concerns. But I love the explosiveness he brings. Probably going to be more of a later second round option, if not a third round option. Donovan Ezaraku, wasn't even sure if he'd be around, honestly. I thought he might get picked in the first, but he
was someone who kind of had some late momentum towards being a first round pick. It felt like over the last couple of days, I saw him at a lot of mocks going like mid to late first round. So kind of surprising that he might go to the Eagles. Yeah, right.
When they traded up, I thought it might have been for him, but not a perfect player, but he's worked with Doug Marrone. Doug Marrone actually has taught him quite a bit. He told me that at the Senior Bowl. And also just a very talented player. One of the only guys who has bend, burst, and size. He's a shorter guy, but he's got really freakishly long arms. Honestly, he looks weird. Like physically, he looks like an action figure whose arms are like kind of stretched out a little bit, but I think he'd be a really great addition to the edge rush group. Nick Scorton wasn't great last year for Texas A&M, but you see more flashes at Purdue. He wasn't quite as heavy, so maybe he slims down. He could be an edge rushing threat. Maybe he develops into an every down kind of guy. Actually, no, he's good against the run. Needs to be a little bit more nuanced as a pass rusher. Landon Jackson, freak athlete, big dude, really good mobility and explosiveness for his size, inside out versatility. Femi Oladejo is a guy who's an off-ball linebacker. He just kind of like a few guys in this class. He just transitioned to the defensive line, and you can see that he's still very raw, but he's physical. He's a high-energy guy. You see some flashes of pass rush prowess. He just needs more experience there, but I think, and he's a guy that it seems like they like a lot. Then offensive line, Ozzy Trapillo. They just addressed offensive tackle, but Trapillo has 4 position versatility. Started his BC career. He spent some time at guard on both sides of the line and was a primary left tackle, then switched to right tackle, and that was really his main position. But the ability to play those different spots, I think, is huge. And Doug Marrone connection, the Scar connection, BC and all that makes a ton of sense. Then the Georgia guys, Jared Wilson could be a day one starter for you at center with Garrett Bradbury, obviously a veteran, but you still don't know exactly how good he can be this season. And then Tate Ratledge, Georgia guard, really talented guy. If the Patriots in this regime aren't sold right now on Layden Robinson, then go in the second and get a guy with a bit of a higher pedigree. So yeah, I think that it's mostly the interior, but I do think Trapillo with his connection, everything just makes a ton of sense. And edge rusher, wide receiver, are the big ones for me.
Sounds good to me, Taylor. I'm with you on, all of the fits. Trapillo, I wonder if again. Well, I guess he's late day 3, mid day 3. We'll see where he goes. But then it's like, well, if they do get a wide receiver, then it could make sense to kind of. You mentioned the 4-position versatility, kind of play him anywhere. But yeah, all the wide receivers, like your Trey Harris, your Luther Burden, Jalen Noel, like all of those guys, take another swing. You have to take another swing. It was in the same spot last year, that 38 range, right at the beginning of the second round. They went for Polk. So far, it didn't work out. Maybe it ends up working out down the stretch of the season. But again, as things sit right now, like Stephon Diggs is, what looks to be sort of your North Star in the room, somebody who is like supposed to be really good, but you don't really know. You don't know when he's going to come back. Yes, you have Kendrick Bourne. Sounds like Kayshon Boutte is kind of on the trade block right now. So it's a room that needs help. It's a Drake May that needs help. If you help him with Will Campbell, I think this next pick has to be offensive weapon, whether it's even, I saw Alex Barth just tweeted Travion Henderson could be an option there too. Like I'd be okay with that. Again, I don't love it. I'm not a running back guy as we've kind of made clear here on the show, but go attack the wide receiver position. You got your offensive lineman who has versatility, because he might have to play guard at some point. So you got your Will Campbell. Now go get someone who can catch the ball from Drake May and really start to build that arsenal around him.
And last thing, a lot of people have asked me why no Jaden Higgins, which I understand. Like great PFF grade, caught everything thrown his way and all that. I don't think he plays to his size. Like people always say like his quarterback sucked and there's all these things. And I understand that. I get it. He had a bad quarterback and there were a ton of times that he was open, vertically especially, and didn't get the football. But I also feel like he was wearing coverage pretty often. I think there are times where he's very efficient in his footwork. And I think there are times where he gets stuck in the mud. And on those plays, you really see the fact that he doesn't have like the best, like he's not super, super fluid like a Ted McMillan. Like he's got better mobility than you expect for his size. But I think Trey Harris is a better separator. I think he maximizes his catch radius more often. And I think he actually brings more vertical separation ability and just general big playability downfield. Again, I understand Jaden Higgins didn't always get a chance to show it. But like there were times where like catches I've seen Trey Harris make with decent consistency, I didn't really see as much from Jaden Higgins. I just think, again, it's the juice for me. I don't think that I also think Jaden Higgins is more of a Z slot. And like sometimes X, and I think Trey can actually live at X. So that's for me the biggest reason. I just think that Higgins' skill set is very redundant. Like he's Jalen Polk, he's not Stephon Diggs, but like he's Mac Hollins. Like he's that big guy who's not going to separate a ton, but he'll make the 50-50 catches. And I just don't think he does that quite well enough to justify a pick for a guy who doesn't give you the juice or the like crazy flexibility.
We talked about that earlier with John, where he was like, when he's a contested catch guy, that basically means he just can't separate, and that kind of is what the sense I get from Jaden Higgins. So yeah, I think I'm with you there. Again, if they deem him their guy, and it's the Jalen Polk thing, where last year I was like, I was kind of looking through my my post from last year with surrounding Jalen Polk, and I liked Polk throughout the pre-draft process. Then when the way it happened, I was like, it felt a little early when they took him. But if he was their guy, he was their guy. He clearly was. It just didn't work out the way we kind of wanted it to. So if Higgins is the same way, maybe let them fail that way again. But there are plenty of options still here going into day 2. So we will be here every step of the way to have you guys covered. I was going to ask Taylor, do you have anything else for us? But I know you don't have anything else for us because we need to get our rest before we get back on here tomorrow. Again, Will Campbell down in Foxboro tomorrow afternoon. We will be there. And then we will be back here on Draft Central, taking you through the second round of the 2025 NFL Draft. 7 o'clock start tomorrow on Friday. So we'll be here through the Patriots pick like we were tonight, and then we will be back for the rest of them as well. So keep it locked in here, rate, review, and subscribe to Patriots Press Pass. And there's over 3,000 of you watching right now at 12:20 a.m. So we appreciate all of it. We appreciate the love. Do us a favor, like the video. If you don't subscribe to Patriots Press Pass, subscribe right now. It helps us out. And turn on those notifications so you'll always know when we go live. So thanks again, Taylor. Thanks for joining me. What do you
You
got?
want a
You got
fun nugget
something?
real quick?
Yeah, what do you got?
Shedeur Sanders is the same height and weight as Brock Purdy.
I think of Brock
And I don't
Purdy
think
as like
he
a
has
little.
the same arm. I think Purdy's got a much better arm and is better when plays break down.
Yeah.
So think
Wow.
about that one. Mr. Irrelevant. He is the same size and does not have, I think, the same physical tools.
No. Huh.
Interesting. I was
Okay.
just kind of scrolling the timeline and was like, whoa, is that it? But then you think about like, yeah, no, he's not a big guy. Sorry. That's the
No.
last thing out of me. But that's what you get for the rest of your night. Think
No,
about
yeah,
that.
it's not a. Yeah, that's wild. That I think of Shedeur as like taller, like maybe not as Brock's like sturdy. Well, Brock's Purdy, but no.
Sturdy Purdy.
Yeah,
Pretty
but
sturdy.
I feel like he's short. I feel like I think of Brock Purdy as like a 5'9" quarterback or something like that. Where, wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I'll stew over that for the next couple hours. But we'll be back here tomorrow, so make sure you keep it here on Patriots Press Pass. Until next time, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will see you tomorrow as the draft continues. Peace out, everyone.